I didn't give you the link, eh? Oh, you don't need the link, what you are.
Yeah. Terus nanti sampai kita cari mana. Oh, slide. Ini boleh on terus slide. Slide di boleh ini, and at the same time I share slide dekat dalam screen YouTube. Jadi dia orang boleh nampak. Ini oh, nggak ada share.
Hello. Good afternoon to all of you. All present today. Yes, okay, good. Tomorrow we will complete our speaking test. Tomorrow, the whole week. No, it's not the whole week. It's 8, 9, and 10. Okay. So today, this afternoon, I shall be giving a sharing on web writing paper. As you know, this session 2, session 1 has just passed. You will be sitting for session 2. And I am not an examiner for the new format, so but I will be sharing based on what I think the marking will be like. Okay, this is how my presentation is going to be like. I'll start off with giving you a brief explanation of what CEFR is about. You know that this year we have aligned WEC to CEFR. So a little bit about CEFR. The second part of my presentation, we will look at, I'll give you some tips on how to write better. And my final presentation will look at WEC paper in detail, the format of our new writing paper. Now, this is, there are 6 bands here. A1, CEFR starts with A1. If you are A1, means you are basic user. A1 doesn't mean you are the best, no. So it moves upwards. So it's A1, A2, B1, B2, and C1, C2. Now, you are expected the highest C1. We are aiming at one paper, aim at C1. I think when you go to the university, it will be maximum C2. Now, this is strictly, CEFR has lots of bands like this for all the skills in English language. So for written production, C1 is the maximum, the best for you. If you are at C1, which is band 5 plus, means, what it means, if you get band 5 plus means, you can produce a clear, well-structured text. That means you are very proficient in the language. That's C1. If A1 means you do basic, you can use the language for basic survival. It has to be something which is concrete. You use the language for something which is concrete, right in front of you. It's here and now. You can see those things. That's A1. As you move further up, you are able to use the language to explain abstract concepts. Now, this band is for reports and essays. As you know, in the new format, second question would require you to write an extended essay, specifically discursive essay. It is different from the old format. Afterwards, I will explain further what discursive essay means. Now, if you look at the band for description on reports and essays, what it means here is A1 to A2, you are basic user. So it goes like, it's aligned to when. So band 1, band 2, you will be at basic. As you move up, you are independent user. You can use the language. And you are proficient in the language, C1, C2. So if you are aiming for C1, C2, you need to be able to write a complex, things which are more complex. Your language structures would have a variation of the simple and complex sentences. The use of vocab will also be a range of vocab, from simple, everyday, basic vocab to low frequency ones, which are not so common. So here, if A2 plus, you can produce simple text on familiar subjects of interest. So you can imagine if you are A1, A2, your teacher, English language teacher, would be asking you to describe of yourself, describe about things which are around you, you can see. As you get older, your ability to explain complex things which are abstract you need to be able to do those things. So, in CEFR, for reports and essays, you need to consider, when you are writing your essays, you need to consider your content, the types of text that we asked, and the complexity of language use. How complex are you able to do? Okay. So this is the alignment between CEFR and WEN. You can see the scores accumulated from 4 skills. Each skill is 90 marks. Regardless of whatever the total marks, they will bring it to 90 and they will accumulate and see where you are. For example, if your scores are at 331, that means web band you are at 5 plus. Now what 5 plus means for CEFR align is that is C2. That's the highest you can go, C2, 5 plus. Last year we used 6, now we use 5 plus. So C1 and C2, then 5 and 5 plus means you are proficient. Then 3 onwards, then 3 onwards, 3.5, 4.5 means you are independent user of the language. Now, 4.5 means B2 plus, means you are in B2 but high B2. So you are nearly going into C1. So the aim should be going into C2 to get C2. So the classification is this: basic user, proficient, independent user, or are you a proficient user? Now, CEFR is, the language proficiency is like a continuum. That means you can start from A1 right up to C2. It is not, even though it's not clear, sometimes when a student is speaking, you're not sure whether she's B2 or C1, for example. It's kind of fuzzy. It's not clear. It's like the rainbow. There's so many colors. The boundaries are not clear, and yet we can see the colors, the dominant colors in the rainbow, right? Just like you. The minute you speak, we can roughly place you in a band. You can either be low band 2, we feel that you are low band 2, or mid band 2, or high band 2. For example, if you feel that you are band 2, but we feel that the language that you use, then we listen out to the words that you use, the structure that you write, we will know whether are you in C1 yet. So there will be some dominant traits in your language that will tell us which band you are in. But bear in mind that you may be band 2, you may be band 2 in speaking, but you may be B2 in speaking and B1 for writing. So it's different. You may be strong or weak in the 4 skills. Your strength may not be the same. Now, so CEFR levels help for simplification, helps us to communicate people's level of proficiency in the language. So whichever countries that adopt CEFR, as long as that country adopts CEFR, even though you are from Malaysia and you say you are B1, for example, So people will know, let's say I'm from Pakistan, my country also adopts CFR, so they will know, you B1 means these are the things that you can do with the language. So it's a kind of same, we are using same framework, same benchmark. Unlike web before this, it's just for us relations, you know. But CFR gives you an international standing. So, and you are the lucky batch, the lucky students who are starting with this web CFR aligned. We are, of course, a learner's profile is more complicated, and we cannot just say speaking is B2, writing is B1, listening is more complicated, but we look at your dominant traits, dominant capabilities in the various skills, language skills. Now, okay, how to the second part of my presentation? How do we write well? How do we write well? You are my class. You will know the answer. You don't know the answer. How do we write well? What to do in order to be able to write well? Clever. Read. There is, I think your board will be telling you, read and read and read. If you are not good in writing, means you are lacking in reading. It's simply that. Because it makes sense, right? The more you read, the more words you will know, the stronger is your background knowledge. So all this will help you in writing. So the key is not to have more writing practice. No. The minute you find that your writing is not good, it is time to increase on your reading. So I would advise at least 20 minutes every day to read. Are you doing it? Are you doing the reading 20 minutes before you sleep? So today, since I'm being recorded, I cannot scold you. So we will just smile if you say no. Now, so the first tip for better writing is to read. Read. That's the key. But if you, besides reading, background knowledge, importance of background knowledge. I am sure you would have realized by now the importance of background knowledge. What this means is that you have ideas. Let's say the essay is on mothers, for example. Of course, it will be easy for you because mother is somebody close to you. So you have lots of things to say about mothers. You have lots of ideas, opinions. That is background knowledge. To have knowledge, to have the content to write. Let's say you are given an essay topic where you have no idea what it is. That will be difficult. Even to speak. If they ask you to speak on greenhouse effect or talking about the environment, if that is not your interest and you have never read about the environment, you will have a problem expressing yourself, be it in speaking or writing. That's the importance of background knowledge. You also need to remember to use short sentences at the start of a paragraph and at the end. Short depends. Don't I say short, then every sentence at the start of every paragraph you use three, 4 words sentence. No. There need to be variation. Writing is something very personal, you know. It's, okay, you just bear in mind, if I start my paragraph with a short sentence, then the impact to your reader. It will straight away drive home the key idea of that paragraph. This is why one of the strategy to write better is to write shorter first sentence and the last sentence of each paragraph. But again, like I said, you got to vary. There are, don't do this, don't do 3, 4 words. There are ways to do this, but the idea is to drive home your topic sentence immediately to help your reader understand what is the key, what is the main idea of your paragraph. Then your second, third, fourth sentences can be long because you're going to elaborate. You need to elaborate. This is second tip, yeah? You need to elaborate, and your last sentence in that paragraph, again, make it short and sweet, concise and precise. Because why? Like I said, you want to drive home your idea of that paragraph. The next thing to bear in mind is punctuations. When we talk about punctuations, what are we talking about? What are punctuations? Comma, to stop, the letters, all this which you have learned since kindergarten. So all this, especially from full stop, you must have full stop. Because I think when you were growing up, unlike me, not mine, we don't have that full stop in our reference books. Maybe all books they prepare that full stop for students. So you take for granted everything that you write, that full stop will impact you. No, not at this level. Now, avoid unnecessary repetition. Don't repeat. For example, I'm giving you just one example, added bonus. So instead of saying added bonus, just write bonus will do. Now, when I mark your essays, if there is repetition, I will cancel it out. Another tip for better writing is to see things. Now, the next thing is to see things from your reader's point of view. Do you hear me? See everything from your reader's point of view. When we are writing, this is what I do. When I'm writing, I will always think, will it be clear for my readers? I always have that, I will think that unless you're writing a journal or a diary, then it doesn't matter how you do it. Because few months later you read, you will know because it's yours now. But if you are writing for somebody to read, you've got to consider your reader. Is it clear for my reader? You must try your level best to make sure your writing is clear. Your presentation, how you turn your thoughts into words, you need to make it as clear as possible. The next one is don't overload your sentences with ideas. One sentence, one idea. Unless you are really proficient, then I think this is possible. But later, perhaps later when you are in the university, over the years you have improved. At this point of time, just keep to one idea, one sentence. Don't overload it. Because then you will be confused, your readers will be more confused. So several short sentences is better than one overloaded. Some of you, when you write your essays, it'll be as long, your essay will be as long as a few, like 4 or 5 lines. And it's just one sentence. I find that very funny. Because I cannot follow. Because when I read your essay, I will try to follow, to understand. What are you trying to tell? And you will lose me, if you write it too long, I cannot follow.
After the third sentence, I don't know what you're talking about. And I doubt you yourself know what you're talking about. So I just make an assumption that you have cut and paste from somewhere. You must write something that you understand. Then your reader will understand. If you yourself don't understand, definitely it will be more difficult for your readers. Now, another idea, a tip given on how to write better is to reject the first word that you think of. For example, you want to write she is a bad person. Bad. The first adjective that came to your head is bad. So experts say try not to use the first word that comes to mind. Try and think harder, think deeper. Then perhaps you will come up with words like cruel, horrible, vicious. But again, if you think so long, nothing comes out, you use bad. This is those young. I think if you read widely, you will have a lot of words in your head. Now, a very important aspect of your writing is using connectors, sequencing, adding, cause and effect. This, I used to think that, last year when I first came here, I thought these are things that everybody would have mastered by the time they reach Form 6. But no, I realized that that's not the case. I realized that this is something that we have to teach you again at this level. You've got to be aware of the sequence connectors that you're using. There are many. So I want you in your writing to vary the sequence connectors that you are using. Vary it. Do exercises on sequence connectors. You don't need to wait for me to give you exercises on sequence connectors. There are plenty of websites on the internet. Just yesterday, a student came to see me and said, "Teacher, I need some exercises on grammar." I looked at her and said, "If you are in primary school, I would help you, willingly. But now you're going into tertiary institution. You can easily type on Google grammar exercises. Let's say you want to start from basic. Then you type elementary grammar. Then move on to intermediate or advanced. The minute you enter into any website, you will have that idea which one will be your level. And most of these websites, some of them even offer placement or diagnostic tests for you to know where you are and then choose the exercises accordingly. There are plenty. You do not need to take any English tuition. It's all there on the internet. Do it. That reminds me, the grammar book that you have, you must finish it. Whenever you're free, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, do. You don't wait for me to tell, okay, do up to chapter 21, then only you do. Sometimes I cannot remember. Now, so comparing, contrasting, please go through. And if I'm you, if I'm not sure at this stage, if I'm not sure of my sequence connectors, I will print this and stick it in my room, so that every time I walk past, I'll look at it. And it will stay in your head. Because the more frequent repetition, you will stay. You don't do like this. You give a sample sentence on how to use these connectors. Now, the third part of my presentation, the web writing format. Now, the web paper, new format, we have two questions here. Question 1, it's aimed at A2 to C1. Meaning A2, anybody who's at A2 should be able to answer. You can go as far as C1, depending on how you write your email. If you use very good words, straightforward, email, I don't think you can write stories, too much stories. Question 1 is speech. A2 is C1. A2 basic, huh? It can either be emails or letters. But today, I'm just going to share email with you. Now, you are advised to spend 25 minutes here. Can you, if anybody were to ask, can I write longer? Yes, you can. Bear in mind, you have 1 hour, 15 minutes. So, if you take longer time to answer your email, your extended essay, you have less time to write your essay, extended essay. And I wouldn't want to do that because extended essay is 60 marks and your email is just 30 marks. But you must do your level best for email. You should be able to score. You must score. Here, the number of words is minimum. Minimum. You don't write at 100 and you stop. You can write a bit more, 120, 130. But don't go and do up to 200, 250. You're wasting your time and effort. That time and effort should go into your extended essay. Now, for extended essay, it could be discursive, argumentative, or problem solution. How will you know? When you read the question, you will know. Discursive simply means looking at the topic being given from various angles. Give your opinion. So I'll give my opinion from this perspective, that perspective, various perspectives. But if it's argumentative, you've got to argue it out. Or problem solution. For the benefit of this workshop, we are only going to look at discursive. What does discursive mean? Then how? Expressing opinion from how many angles? Various angles, yes. I think most of your university assignment would be that. They give you a topic, a title, and you would have to give various opinions of that topic. For question 2, it is speech at B1, independent to proficient. At B1, minimum 250 words. Just now I was trying, I will give you a sample afterwards of question 2 and try to answer it. 250 words is too short, too limited, I feel. I'm not sure how can we answer it. 250. How long 250? 1 page? 2. Average? 1.5? 1.5. That's right. Okay. So, question 1, minimum 100 words. Question 2, minimum 250 words. You can write as much as you want because you have time. After that, when you are attempting question 2, as long as you still have time, you continue writing. You write, but you don't write right up to the end. You have no chance of writing conclusion. You must have that concluding paragraph. Now, you realize that the level of challenge in the task increases. Question 1 in the writing paper is easy because it starts at A2. So I think question 1 email, everybody, all the students should be able to answer email. 30 marks should be in your hands. 30 marks. So you need another, not many. Because extended essay, as long as you write, you will definitely get some marks. Unless you you return a empty paper, you don't write, then you won't get anything. But as long as you write 5 paragraphs, you would get like at least 20 to 15. The words come to the words out of 60, if you get 15, then 30, quite okay. You must think of the worst. Now, so second task will differentiate the students. If everything easy, then how do we know which are the band 5 class, who are the band 2? We won't know if the tasks are all pitched at the same level. So we make it more difficult. Question 2. This is those who are more proficient. You want to show more of your language ability. Is question 2. Now for email, it's like I said, the question is pitch A2 to C1. Now it's more of general social everyday matters. If you look at the exercises that we've done so far from the various reference books, is that not something out of this world that you've never experienced. No. Other thing is reading what you have experienced. Let me give you an example of an email task. Question 1, task 1. Now for email, remember to spend 25 minutes. 25 to 30. Don't go more than that. It's not worth it. I want maximum 30 minutes. After that, move to question 2. So here, the input email, you will get an input email. Based on the email given, you are to answer. Write a reply email. So if you look at the question from Sally, topic, subject, prefect leadership camp. From and subject. You must have these two. Even if you don't memorize, it's okay. You just follow the same thing. From, you write whichever name is given in the question, in the input email, then you follow. As in this case, the example given, Sally wrote to Nur Hayati. So Nur Hayati, later when you write your answer, your reply email, you don't write your own name, you write Nur Hayati. From Nur Hayati, prefect leadership camp. Then you sign off, yours sincerely, Nur Hayati. This is the format. Okay, in between what happens? Dear Nur Hayati, hi, how are you? So she's asking about the leadership camp, and she couldn't go because she had a dental appointment. So on the right side, can you see glad, agree because, share 2 lessons, and yes. This looks like points, but they're actually questions. Questions that you must answer in your reply email. So I've given you an example. So the scenario in the email is Sally was not able to join the prefect leadership camp. So she has written to Nur Hayati to find out more about the camp. Then you have to answer the points, the 4 points framed as questions. You look at it as phrases and just a word, but those are content that must be answered in your reply email. So this is, for example, glad. So you're in your reply email, you will write, I am glad and happy that you have finally put on your braces. I am glad and happy. Please just use whatever word they've given you, use it in your reply email. You can add glad and happy. Be on the safe side. Just repeat. Agree because, now she said, I heard many interesting activities were carried out during the camp. Leadership camp can is important. That's what Sally said. So in your reply letter, you cannot say, no, I find it very boring. You cannot. Because in the point, you have to agree, and give your reason why you agree. You cannot say no, huh? Just follow. Then you have to share. Sally asked, what are the 2 lessons that you learned? So you need to share 2 lessons. The sample given here, I've given you sample. I would like you to read. Firstly, as a leader, we need to remember that leadership is a service given to others. So you come up with 2 reasons. You think of 2 reasons, lessons that you could learn from a leadership camp. Now, if you have some background knowledge about leadership camp, then this question is fantastic. You will have lots of ideas. If you have never experienced a leadership camp, you can still easily think of something. It's not like a camp on how to save the earth or things like that. This is leadership camp. This is something you can still think of something. Any questions so far? So if yes, any idea? If Sally asks, any idea if there will be another leadership camp, and you must say yes. Don't just yes and then talk about other things. Yes, and say something about it. Huh? Yes, I heard they will be organizing one soon. I'm sure you will enjoy it as much as I did. So very direct and straightforward, the email task. If you think your essay is not good, I want you to aim for 30 marks, full marks for email. So difficult not to get 30. But you must make sure no errors. It's error-free. It's not a very difficult content. It would be more difficult to explain, to justify, and all in person too. So this is a sample. I have shared with other more teachers. I think your class has not shared this. Later I will send it to you. So the 4 points that Sally asked in the input email, I put them in. Can you see? Point 1, 2, 3, and 4. All the 4 points asked in the input email is answered in your reply email. So if you see, you must have from your subject, and then you sign off with the same name. From Nur Hayati, you sign off with lots of love. Nur Hayati, the same person. And in between, you will add in words to make your email stronger. But you cannot write long. Don't write long. Don't write too long. 30 minutes maximum, stop. Move on to your essay. Now you will study the sample later. Now we look at question 2. This is 60 marks. A sample question for task 2. You are advised to spend 50 minutes. Now here, task 2, you are advised to spend about 15 minutes on this task. Task 1, how many minutes should you spend? Maximum? Maximum 30 minutes. Meaning, this, if you spend that 30, you only have 45 minutes. Now, here, task 2. During the Teachers' Day celebration, an invited speaker made the following statement in his speech. Online learning promotes better learning environment. Now, the teacher asked you and your classmates to write an essay, expressing your opinion in at least 250 words. I would advise you write to the end as much time as you have. but you must think of the concluding paragraph. You must have. Now, discursive essay. This is an example of a discursive essay scaffolding. If you look here, the template, the framework, you start off with an introductory paragraph. So what do you do in introductory paragraph? You set the background. You talk about online learning. You talk about how come online learning started. Give some background knowledge so that the reader know where you're coming from. Oh, she's only talking about online learning since the pandemic. Because even before the pandemic, we already have online learning, e-learning, blended learning. So you're coming from there. So you set the background. First paragraph is always to set the background. Then you can talk about online learning. What do you understand by learning environment? Then you can move on to paragraph 1. You can expand the details of your topic. Paragraph 2, present first perspective. Paragraph 3, alternative perspective. Paragraph 4, perhaps a story to talk about online learning. And conclusion. There are 6 paragraphs here. I've always taught you 5 paragraphs, isn't it? Actually, there's no hard and fast rules, you know. Why I said it at 5 so that it's easier for you. Because sometimes students then get confused and then they do whatever they like. So I thought just for mode's sake, I'm going to set you at 5 paragraphs. First, introduction. Last, the 5th paragraph, concluding paragraph. Intro, conclusion, in between 3 body paragraph. So if you look, you can use this. Introduction, body, conclusion. Body, you have 3 paragraphs. You don't go to university later and say, no, my math teacher said I must only have 5 paragraphs. No such thing as that. You can do more. You do lesser. It's up to you. When I write also, I don't, as long as I have ideas to write, or when I'm writing any papers, I will just continue writing. Just the number of words that will stop me from writing like 10, 20 pages. So I would advise for your MOET, question 2, stick to 5 paragraphs. Introduction and conclusion, the 5th paragraph. Now conclusion, the 3 other paragraphs in between is to talk about the topic. That means come up with 3 topic sentences. First topic sentence is 1 key idea, 1 perspective on online learning. Your 3rd paragraph would be another key idea, another perspective on online learning. And so 3 different perspectives. You can do that. There is no hard and fast. It's not like that. There's certain ways of doing things. Here, no. I would advise if it's discursive, just come up with 3 alternative perspectives. Now, marking consideration. I did not mark, the first session, so I don't know what's the new format like. But I think this is going by logic. Any essay marking surely will look at content. You surely look at content. How do you develop your ideas? You don't just touch and go. Surface level, no. It wouldn't bring you very far. Wouldn't give you perhaps band 2 or low band 3 if your ideas are not developed. You must develop your ideas at this level where there must be some kind of strong elaboration to the topic sentence that you came up with. It must be relevant. It is very, very crucial that you really understand the question before you answer. It is so easy. I've seen in my experience of marking, I've seen so many candidates that they're so proficient and yet you have to mark them down for content. for giving irrelevant content. It's sad when you have to do that. And you must inform the reader. I must feel like I'm informed of something when I read your essay. This is my content. So when you are writing, come up with 3 ideas, 3 topic sentences. Make sure each topic sentence has elaboration and examples. Communicative achievement. This is more about the tone being used. Is it appropriate? How appropriate is the genre and register used? If it has to be appropriate, what you are writing has to be appropriate to the audience. In terms of organization, how you organize your essay. Basically, organization means how the text is being put together. No, it's not just about writing. Organization is important in anything. Even to prepare for this PowerPoint slides, I keep having to go to the slide sorter and sort it and think, how best do I arrange my slides so that I organize it in such a sequence that my listener, my audience will be able to understand. So I keep having to move my slides, So organization is important because then only whatever message that you're sending across will be clear. Paragraphing. Again, like I said, there's no hard and fast rules about paragraph. How many paragraphs? But it's just me. I would like to set for my students at 5 paragraphs. Then look into your punctuations. It irritates me when I see students don't put full stop. I get irritated. Full stop. It's just a minor thing. But still, it affects you if no full stop. Next is language. Sentence types. For basic survival, basic user, you will use very basic words. Very basic words. The kind of words that you use in your essay, is it common or less common? Which one will give you higher marks? Common or less common? The less common. And normally the less common ones are more precise. It gives you that precision in meaning. But this is something that you cannot learn just by having a list of words, memorizing a list of words. You can't. You've got to read. You've got to read and get these words from your reading. Sometimes I want to explain certain things and the words will just come. And I hardly use those words in my conversation. So I believe those words are stored from my reading. So whenever I want to write and I want to explain something, those words will come. So you need to have trust and faith that reading is the key to being more proficient in the language. That is the answer. That's number 1. Read. Number 1 is going to America or England. Then you will master the language in no time. Since we can't afford, we read. Reading is as good. Now, so sentence types. There are simple and complex sentences. You cannot use. If your sentences, the whole essay is just simple sentences, it's not going to carry you. We cannot, as examiners, we cannot bring you to band 4, band 5. All simple, but correct, grammatically correct. No mistakes. But it's at that level. Simple, basic usage. Then you won't go more than band 3. You've got to aim to have variation in your sentence and your vocab. And so most probably your writing will look at task fulfillment. Have you fulfilled the content? Task fulfillment is basically talking about content. Whether your ideas, content means we are talking about are the ideas developed, are the ideas relevant. If I ask you to write a letter, you don't give me a report. How like that? So are the ideas well developed and relevant? That is in answering content, task fulfillment. Then communicative achievement. Is the tone appropriate? If you're writing, you are presenting to an audience, you will not write the same way as you write to a very close friend. So it's different. Organization. Organization helps your reader to better understand your thoughts, your ideas, whatever you're trying to send across. And language. Language, we look at grammar, we look at your spelling, all this comes in. We look at whether you're using suitable cohesive devices, and because on the other hand, all this variation. Don't every time my next point is, next paragraph also you put my next point is, don't vary it. And this, there are plenty of exercises for this on the internet. Okay, that's all for my presentation on writing. Any questions? The key here would be, my last word of advice to read. Find a book that's at your level, that you like reading, and read every day. You can only gain by reading. Okay, thank you so much. All right, I'm going to share my
Dia ada berikan. Nak share apa? Nak share dengan
sample essay.
ini katakan. Okay.
So now I need to small report.
Tengok oleh kan essay kan, essay mesti mampu pasal.
Oh, I didn't change.
You have to send it back.
You just send them the sample.
Oh, you just send them the sample. So no need. Okay. You just check it. The back of it, this one still on. Okay.
So the writing sample for task 2 will be shared in your Telegram group. With that, I thank you, all of you.
Habis saya cek.